Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm really glad I'm participating in this conference. And as you can see, we have already been provided with some essential notions and thoughts. And so I hope that we will all have the chance to exchange even more insightful ideas and derive useful knowledge during the next presentations. I'm sure we will. Now my presentation is a collective work. It focuses on a key issue which has been on the field for years, but still continues to concern us all. It's challenges teachers face and the need for digital resources. Occasioned by refugee education in my country, in Greece, there has been conducted a really important research with regard to teaching the Greek language to refugee adolescents. In order for refugee students to respond to this learning procedure, some essential prerequisites are definitely needed, as you can see in my first slide. First of all, there has to be trained teaching staff, as well as other characteristics like acceptance and some attitudes of empathy for refugee children. Of course, there is also needed appropriate teaching material that has to be specialized for the needs of these students. And definitely organized facilities, classrooms, provided desks or chairs or even other things needed. One last but definitely really important extra material is the digital tools and the digital resources, because they can help the educational procedure very much.
Sorry to interrupt you, Helena. Can you try putting it into the presenter mode again? Because we can see the slides, but it's very, very small. Is that okay?
I'm sorry.
I don't mean to, sorry to interrupt you now, yeah.
Okay, let me see how I can make them even bigger.
Or if you go up, maybe just go up into presenter mode and then we can,
yeah.
Will that work?
Is it better for you now?
It's definitely bigger anyway, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. Before moving to the research conducted, let me point out a few statements about refugee education and about intercultural education in general. Well, since 2015, lots of refugees have come to Greece from Syria, Iran, Iraq, other Arab states. So refugee education has been a really necessary investment, and not only for the previous years, but also for the current times. As we can see, there are also political strifes in Ukraine and all these European places. So when in 2015 and 16 reception classes and educational priority areas were structured, it was really important work. Of course, these classes had to be equipped with teachers. The teachers had to also be equipped with two really important notions: intercultural competence and intercultural readiness. To be more specific, intercultural competence has to do with the theoretical knowledge, which means that they had to have some psychological or sociocultural characteristics. They had to know how to teach refugee children, even have some background knowledge of their mother tongue, the children's mother tongue. Moreover, as far as intercultural readiness is concerned, they had to be able to interact in a practical level in class. They should be able to correspond to the children, be ready to evolve when needed. So they also had to do their best in order to not have any stereotypes in the classroom. This is something that all teachers definitely should have, but it's something that we can see it's not so easy to have it, especially because of the different characteristics that the teachers may carry. They also had to be really adaptable, as in the previous presentation we saw. They had to be really flexible as well as open-minded. They should see things in an objective way, and all these are prerequisites for intercultural education. When someone has this intercultural education as a model, definitely the progress of the refugee students is much better. And some essential digital media really are necessary in order for this procedure to go on, because digital media are not just means of delivering information, they are means of cultural, they're types of cultural forms, and they carry much more than that. As you can see here, other scholars and researchers have detected many difficulties in refugee education, as well as in teachers' intercultural competence. For example, they have noted that children did not have knowledge. Well, they had some knowledge, but sometimes it was limited of the Greek language. They were also moving from place to place, from camp to camp, so they could not be on time or at the place where the first lessons were provided. And of course, they carried too many psychological traumas, and they were really emotional because of all these things that they had already been through. Moreover, the teachers were not always able to effectively respond to the education of refugee students, and they had not gained the special training for this. Well, after actually, let's ask ourselves, how can digital tools improve all this educational procedure, and what help they can provide to teachers in order to overcome these challenges and probably gain this intercultural competence? Well, we used to have the chalk and board process, and in some schools in Greece, it still is the thing that we use. However, as time goes by, there are even more new methods for this, and of course, we've got some digital education systems. We've got whiteboards or tablets, or iPads in class. Through all these, learning is definitely more interactive and more engaging, as you can see here. Students.
Sorry, Helena, sorry to interrupt you again. We still only see your very first slide, but it sounds as if you're talking about other slides.
Oh.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm very, very sorry.
What do you mean by the very first slide?
We see here challenges teachers face. We see the start slide. We don't see anything else. It sounds as if you're talking about something else.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Let's see that again.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This is the previous things that I mentioned. So let me show them again.
And maybe zoom out. Otherwise, we don't see all the text.
Okay. Shall I do it like that? Is it better for you?
Yeah, that's a bit better. It would be better if you could go into presentation mode. I don't know if I think you tried that before and it didn't work, but just to say.
Okay. Can you see the slide with digital tools in education?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you can zoom a little bit out so that we see it all. And no, the other direction.
Yeah.
Like make it smaller. Okay.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
not too much. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I was saying that well, learning is now more interactive and engaging with all these digital tools. Children can have access to a more personalized learning. They can expand their learning opportunities and can achieve a higher engagement rate as shown in the advantages. So after all this information, let's move on to the research conducted so that we can see what the teachers themselves had to say. There are three aims on this research. The first one was to find out the challenges that teachers face when educating adolescent refugee students. The second aim was to investigate their intercultural competence and readiness of secondary school teachers. And the last one was to point out the importance of digital tools and sources in education. Just for the record, the methodology of the research was the qualitative one. Actually, there were 8 secondary school teachers that have been interviewed, and then what they said had been coded and categorized. So we're going to see the figures and tables right away. Here are the results concerning the challenges the teachers face, and this specific figure has to do with children's characteristics that probably made the procedure more difficult. As you can see here, there were 8 participants, as I said, and 7 out of 8 participants said that the refugee students had inefficiency in Greek language. They did not know almost anything about Greek language, and they could not communicate in class. So this definitely makes things really difficult for them to cooperate. At a lower level, but still important, 6 out of 8 teachers mentioned that children did not know the school rules. They had ignorance of school rules. This is also something we should take into account, because these children are adolescents for the specific research. It is something really difficult to understand, because we believe that since someone is an adolescent, probably has been in a school environment for years and knows how to behave in class. However, this is not what happens during this interviews, because children, even though they were teenagers, they did not know the school rules. Other challenges were 5 out of 8. Violent behavior. Violent behavior was not from other students, but it was from the refugee students that had some psychological traumas, as shown right below, and they had some violent behavior sometimes because of all the fear and all the trust issues they had. Moreover, there was prejudice among refugee students. This is also really important, because some students come from some refugee students come from different environment. They had different political thoughts or religious thoughts, so they fought each other. And this is also another challenge that teachers had to face in class. Well, as you can see, there were other challenges because of children's characteristics, such as lack of family support. Most of these children did not even have a family. They did not attend school regularly on a daily basis. They also had different mother tongues or dialects. which made the procedure even more difficult to achieve. There were, of course, some challenges due to external factors, not only because of children characteristics, of course. For example, as you can see on the pie provided, we've got an equal percentage, 29% of facilities. Facilities were not appropriate for teaching in refugee classes. And another 29% is that there were not interpreters or psychologists. These two are really important since they could not communicate, they were not talking the same language as we mentioned before, and of course they carry too many traumas, and psychological support should be necessary. They all had, and that's something really insightful, they almost all had access to the internet. They did have audiovisual tools, only 7% had lack of this external factor. This means that since audiovisual tools are provided in some extent, probably this is a tool that can be used in teaching. We're going to talk about this in a few moments. Any other impressive ascertainment that I would like to mention is something which is a little bit, how can I say it, contrary, and on the well, let me explain. Educators self-assessed themselves, and they said that they were sufficient enough to teach refugee children. 62% said that they were sufficient enough. However, only 25% said that they were confident while teaching refugee children. I am providing you some of the words of these teachers. Actually, one mentioned that there was no previous education for her. Another one said that through experience, I get improved. This means that, of course, as more as they can interact with refugee children, they get even better. And the last comment, I feel I'm getting better as time goes by, but there is still way. So even though they might feel sufficient enough, they did not feel confident enough. And we're talking about an average teaching experience of 13 years. Some teachers have been working for 4 to 22 years, but their interaction with refugee students is on an average 2.4 years, which is really, really low. Now, let me move on to the next slide here. Okay, as you can see, teachers' training and readiness was in a low level. Cognitive skills are not the only skills needed. Most of the skills needed were psychological skills. They have to be there for children in order to provide them with supportive psychological help. As they say, you need to respect these children, or you require you have to have too many social skills. It's really important right here. This one, I would like to point out that what helped me was my nature as a mother. They need a mom teacher. This is something that really grabbed me. It is a notion, mom teacher, that probably all these children need even more than children that are not refugee, of course. Now, some more results about how teachers tried to educate refugee children. Here are their attempts, the means they used, some practices they also used. As you can see, they used many practices, and some of them are audiovisual material, online research. They played many role-playing games. They also used theatrical activities. They were trying to use some paintings or sketching through the procedure. And of course, they try to learn the children's mother tongue in order to use them in class. Of course, there was help from the Ministry of Education, as well as from other institutions. For example, there were organizations, they were provided seminars. And all these are really important to be noted, because some of these, if not only, can be done with the help of digital media. So let's
sorry, Helena. Okay, yeah, you're at your conclusion. I was just about to say that your time is pretty much over, but okay, if you can wrap it up then.
Okay, so let me just move just on the last slide, which is this one. I've got some pedagogical implications and suggestions, because as I said, all these can be definitely get better or get improved actually by digital media. We can provide projectors, smart boards, visual presenters, so that learning and teaching can be more interactive and even more interesting for children. They can play games, they can use applications, they can even use social media in as individuals or in small groups in order to learn the new language, or even for teachers to learn the mother tongue of the refugee children. So, okay, that was actually the whole presentation. So thank you very much. And of course, feel free to express any comments or questions.